to it. Got to tend to our law right now. In Al Sufyan Al Law. Islam, Assalam, Islam, Assalam, Islam, Assalam. Our divine subject matter today is very, very key to now. To now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. To now. This lesson is going to need your contemplation. This is a thinking lesson. So I need you to do a lot of thinking of what you've been told and what you've been sold. Because the Spirit of the Lord today is going to reveal all that was hidden. And the very first thing that our divine creator, all praises be to Allah, want us to know and understand that what we was told and what we were sold erased our memories. A false God erased our memories of Allah. Before this particular timeline, we had complete and total recall. Since this timeline came in, we lost our memory. To lose your memory means to now not know who you are. So now that you know this is top priority, the countering of erasing your memories is total recall. So we're going to have total recall of Allah. All praises be. Let us begin. 1492. Is the timeline of a false God who never existed. This is how they started off erasing all of the new generation's memories that was born under and in this 1492 timeline. So if you were born after 1492, you was born into this timeline. So when we all were small, we started attending things outside of our family called kindergarten, pre-K.
Yeah.
And pre-K and kindergarten was the raising of a seed. Kindergarten, where you can the garden to the kind of seed it is. Mm-hmm. So us being innocent and pure, small, we didn't know anything at all. Mm-hmm. So this was the perfect time for us to have our memory erased. So they taught you in pre-K and kindergarten, you start learning stories. Then you learn how to count. Then you learn your ABCs. Not words. A, B, and C. These tools used since kindergarten, called how to count, 1 through 9, how they teach, and how to spell, your ABCs. So now when you hit elementary, now you're going to learn how to put these elements together. Meanwhile, we're in a 1492 timeline, but we as children have no clue of this. So whoever is creating in that school system is now working for the false god. So now making pre-K and kindergarten the playground to raising this full-blown lie. Mm-hmm. Where it becomes manifested and it speaks the lie. We're working our way up. So in elementary, they gave us the numbers and the ABCs. So we'll learn what we finna learn today. So the numbers we will come to learn is what they wanted us to believe. So we start from elementary, get a grasp of the fundamentals, how to count. So you could call it arithmetic, learning numbers, mathematics. Then you're learning how to spell. This is the science part. So they are grooming us to now be a part of the false god's whole army in attempt of erasing our memories. So now, elementary, we become fundamental in the elements. How to count, ABCs. That's mathematics and science at a pre-K kindergarten level. Now we're taking it to middle school. Now the elements is going to become a science and a mathematics as in formulas. So now this is where we start learning little subject matters. They may say math. They might say reading. So these are elementary into middle school, and now you get into the reading and the mathing, and now you advancing in reading and mathing by learning new words. So they give you vocabulary lists to comprehend through reading. They give you formulas to understand for math. 1 + 1, 1 × 1, 1 not minus 1, 1 divided by 1. These are functions of mathematics to get you to understand what's going on in the world around you. So how they taught us from elementary to middle school, grooming us right to become a high level of ignorance of self when we come into high school. High school is the big ordeal. High school is where you become psychologized by the system to believe everything the system have told you. So now you finna get into advanced reading. Now you finna get into advanced mathematics. So now advanced reading in high school would be something like history. So now when you get into history or social studies, this is where the programming begins on a high level. So now they introduce all of us to something called 1492. This was the buildup. The buildup of learning all the tools of the timeline of 1492 was to learn the history beginning in 1492. So with the beginning of the history of 1492 as a scholarship, they was able to take any attendant on the ride of their lives. So they trained the children, which was all of us, to get up on the scholarship. And when we aborted the scholarship of 1492, the scholarship of 1492 set sail. The ship set sail to America. And this is the birth of the false god who never existed. Who erased our memories of Allah. So now anyone that has had their memory erased, they don't know who they are. Because the 1492 system was a timeline shift. So let's see, did we learn any mathematics? Let's see, did we do any reading? Now I'm going to need some thinking upon these understandings. Here's a question for us to begin with. How long was Satan to be bound? This was the whole reading. Why you got the mathematics of 1492 and why you got the science of how to read. So you will read the Bible. In the Bible, it will tell you that Satan will be bounded, but Satan also will be released. And there's a timeline in the Bible for the birth and fall of Satan. That Satan is bounded for a certain amount of years. See, and this all comes into with 1492. And so the answer is 1,000 years. Let's bring this on the screen. Now that we...
Yep. Here.
All right, now I got it on the screen. So, in the King James Version of the Bible, Satan, whose real name, if y'all understand, was being put on this channel, the true naming of things. Satan is Sabbath. So Sabbath is bound for 1,000 years. See, I know what I'm talking about now. This is what I had to read. We're going to get into all of this. But this is something relative right now that we all went through before we had our personal experience. What I call, let's see, we got the 1,000 years now. So he was in a bottomless pit. The angel cast him into the bottomless pits and seals. Let's keep these words in mind. Seals it, preventing him from deceiving the people until the 1,000 years are completed. After this period, he must be loose for a little season before his final destruction. And so this is the time period you in now. So you in a timeline of Satan's destruction. And you are part of destroying Satan if you ain't on his side. This is why you alive in this time. So as we come back to our topic, the 1492 false god who never existed came to erase our memories. All right, 1492. That's in the 1,000-year period. So we have to understand this is why we don't have in their history what happened before 1492. So we're gonna hit a little Google. What year was the Battle of Granada? Now we know Satan loves the war, right?
Yeah.
So battle is going to be Satan's theme. The Sabbath. Rearrange some things. So the internet to rearrange some things. They know the people waking up. See, that's why I'm a scholar, so I know right what to type. It won't get us. See, check this out right here. The 1491 Granada Battle. Now, 1 year before 1492 is 1491. So, what was going on before 1492? We're just going to get a little quick review. The 1491 Granada Battle. This is the history that was left out that would have gave you a view into the past. So we're going to get a little small step on the pier to get a view of the past. 1491 Granada Battle refers to the final stages of the siege of Granada. a major military campaign that culminated in the surrender of the city of Granada by the Muslim Emirate of Granada to the Christian Catholic monarchs. Ferdinand II and Aragon and Isabella I of Castile on January 2nd, 1492. So now you know why they set sail to our lands. So what they will call okay, yep, they got it right here at the bottom. Where Granada is located, it will be called on the Iberian Peninsula. So let's pull up a little map. Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah.
This is the history that is left out that it give you a peer into what happened before 1492. The Iberian Peninsula is a large peninsula in the southern western Europe. Okay, so here comes the image to go with that word. So this is the southwestern. Okay, let me blow that up. Oh yeah, this was. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is what they call it on the mount, the cursor right here. This is the Iberian Peninsula. This is where you get understanding of the Battle of Granada. So this is where the Battle of Granada happened, and it said who owned this land before they was defeated. Right. Muslim and defeated by the Catholics. Yep. So now we're going to make sense of this. It's not that it was defeated. This is part of the false god complex that's going to come to America. Okay, back to the thing. We got to keep that on the screen. And then what happened? 1492. In 1492, a series of monumental events occurred. Notably, the expulsion of Muslims and Jews from Spain. This is what they write in their history. Ending the Reconquista and Christopher Columbus' discovery of the Americas when he landed in the New World. So this is how the first, I'll show you how the false gods came over here to give us a false god that never existed. And through their history, who came over here from over there, they came with this new memory. So we're gonna keep that on the screen because we're gonna come back. We're just showing how this leads up to a certain particular people. So the history and The history of slavery includes centuries. So centuries is young of widespread exploitation. This exploitation is erasing our memories by replacing your memory with a program. While the education of enslaved people was restricted by slaveholders, fearing literacy would incite rebellion, but was pursued through secret schools, secret societies, and underground networks, fraternities, sororities. After emancipation, so after they done restricted you and gave you a whole education from 1492, because emancipation didn't happen till 1868, you could say. So between 1492 and 1868 was this education that was given to the people of over there to when they came over here. See, and this is what we started off as when we came to pre-K and kindergarten. We already done went through and didn't even know it. This is their system that they set up of widespread exploitation. The system was the system of schooling to enslave people. Where did you learn about emancipation at? In school or out of school? So that was the system that taught the teachings of slavery. Now we finna move to after emancipation. Enslaved people, as well as white and religious groups, established schools to provide education and promote economic and social advancement. Did we catch something? So after emancipation, what did they set up for the enslaved people? Who set this up? White and religious groups.
Yep.
So white religions started establishing schools to provide education and promote economics. On my white economics.
Yeah.
Social advancement. That's called social engineering. These people who came off a boat, not from your land, came with a plan. This is why you were here afraid of. Guess what? The devil came with a plan. As we work this way, we only got 2 hours to squeeze this in. Today, the education of slavery is viewed as crucial to understanding modern racial injustices, fostering discussions on freedom and activism. All right. So now that's going to bring us back to our point: white and religious groups. Here come the Bible. So when was the Bible made? Just for the viewers to see. The Bible was written over a period of about 1,500 years, with the Old Testament written between approximately 1400 BC and 400 BC. Somebody been calculating, ain't they? We didn't know nothing on this land about no BC and no AD. This is their system. Yep. So now learning about their system, they like to code something from BC and code it into AD. It is not a single book but a collection of 66 individual books written by many different authors. So how long was Satan to be bound? 1,000 years. What Satan did was created a new timeline. Satan created a new timeline, and it started. Let's go back to the map. Started in this territory right here. So now we finna get into some names. So before 1491, now you can see what they was doing. Roaming around, murder.
Yep.
The ancient people on the lands and creating stories and accounts and writing their own history, forging it over what was already here. So as we're going to go into more of the evidence, this is right here is where you get the understanding of the Satan being bound. In this area, this is where Satan was bound. And in this area is where Satan was released. So now we got to bring in some names. For us to finally come to this awareness, it took a long time and it took a lot of faith. So I did not do all this by myself. Those who came before me laid a great foundation for contemplation and study. So through the school system, we will never know any of this right here that's being presented. But before school system, I was introduced to things before the school system had their imprint on my brain. So it's for men that has to do with how we get to this point right here. And the first is my father. My father had told me before I went to any school system the truth he had learned. So without the father bringing forth the truth within him and being faithful to the truth that he learned, we would not have what we have today. Everything starts from before. So the divine creator placed me into a father that was of Islam. So what we have to understand is this is not nothing I'm converting to. This is something I was born into. And that which I was born into, I had things around me. And my father had around me the holy tablets of Malachi York, the message of the black man by the messenger Elijah Muhammad, and a lot of more authorship according to those lines. And so, you know, Malachi got many books. So you can go down a long list of books when you just speaking of his name. So to compile all those books is just to say the holy tablets. So to read is to have to figure out what these understandings and teachings are pointing to in these books. So Malachi opened up all of the teachings from the past. He included all of the people before him, which will give the person coming to his teachings a history of not himself, but a history of all the others before. And so the teachings of Malachi existed. The teachings of the messenger Elijah Muhammad existed. So understanding what the black man was and understanding the plight of the enemy was made aware by the messenger Elijah Muhammad. From that point on, we had to discover what was prior to all of that. And so this is where you get Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali is very important in this conversation. Because if you just start at Malachi, he'll bring you all the way through to Noble Drew Ali and before. If you don't get to Malachi and you get to Elijah Muhammad, then you get a wealth of Noble Drew Ali. But most of the teachings that's coming from Elijah Muhammad is coming from Noble Drew Ali. But most people don't know this. In the guise of Master Farad Muhammad. So Master Farad Muhammad taught Elijah Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad taught the Nation of Islam. Noble Drew Ali taught Farad and Elijah Muhammad. This is why Farad was able to grasp Elijah Muhammad's attention, because he had the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So these things right here are whispers of what happened in the past. So Malachi comes from the Sudan area of Africa. Elijah Muhammad comes from America, Georgia. Noble Drew Ali comes from America, North Carolina. So we got perspective from Malachi saying what he's saying. There's been type of trickery going on, that they have done something with the Quran and have given us different languages to interpret these books from. And so we learned a lot of languages from Malachi Z-York, who came after Elijah Muhammad and Noble Drew Ali, who didn't teach So now when we're talking about, this is the reason why Noble Ali wasn't teaching Arabic, but Fard Muhammad started teaching Arabic, and this is what was given to Muhammad, the Arabic, and now Islam. So this all has to be brought together. So these four men, my father, Malachi York, Elijah Muhammad, and Noble Drew Ali, is how we get to this grand understanding. So if you're familiar with any of those words, here is the answer and solution from those powerful teachings that was to graduate us beyond the physical body. Within this 1,000-year period, this is what they was bringing back forth. That in this period right here, where you see on the map, in this period right here, this is where you get the 1,000 years. So we got to go through a little history. So we got to pull up a little document. This is what a lot of people don't know. This is the original timeline before a false god entered. Remember, 1492 was the history they gave us, but they didn't arrive in 1492. They arrived. Let's see. Let's go. Let's pull it up. When did the colonists arrive in Virginia? Let's see. There we go. English colonists arrived in Virginia in May 1607, establishing the first permanent English.
Look at that.
So this is where it goes back to British and England, of it being connected to all of the false gods that we're finna get into. So now this is very important for us to remember. In English colonies that was paid by Isabella Ferdinand of Castile to come and voyage. So this all happened after Christopher Columbus, all the offsprings of what they shared about our land. So now people come. They told them it exists. Yeah. These people are harmless. These people got more than what they can know. Yeah. And to them, since we was pure and didn't have any writings anywhere like we see in their cities, they thought we was uncivilized. But see, we was in a time period of, we lived like this. It's called Al-Sufyan. This is prior to the Islamic Golden Age, which I got to bring that on the screen so we just don't forget. It's something called the Golden Age. This is what they don't want you to know. This is what was going on this map right here. In this map right here was the Islamic Golden Age. It was going down right here. That wasn't the birth of Islam, but this was where we spreaded Islam. And this is what they wanted to conquer, because this is where Satan was bounded 1,000 years. So the Islamic Golden Age was a period of extensive cultural, economic, and scientific flourishing that is generally dated from the 8th to the 13th century.
Okay.
So now you see why 1492 keep this all out of history. So before 1492, we went to the Battle of Granada. In 1491, the Muslims ruled. In 1491, while the Muslims ruled, they've been ruling from the 8th century to the 14th century. And this is what they call the Islamic Golden Age. But it was really called the Al-Sufyan Golden Age.
Yeah.
Now, look at the date underneath Al-Sufyan. 610. We see that, right? 610. Now, how long was Satan to be bound?
1,000 years.
Okay, 1,000 years. So 1,000 years from this point is what?
16.
It'll be
1,000.
1,016. Now, when did the colonists arrive?
1607. There you go.
1,000 years later. The colonists appeared on the land of America. Now, where's running from? Long. And when they came to America, guess what they found? A higher version of Islam. Remember, area, this is not the Islam did not spread or have its birth in the Iberian Peninsula. Let me show y'all where Islam had its birth at. Now we're dealing with their maps of today.
Yeah. Can't believe them.
So remember, none of this was mapped like this before 1492. All this is after. So on a global look, on the fourth picture on the first row, that's a global look. As you see, it would be directly in the center.
Look at there.
Islam was birthed in the East. Now they call it the Middle East.
That's why they call it the Middle.
Islam was birthed in the East. The center of the East, the true East, Middle East.
Use the word.
So now we're gonna zoom in on it. With this map, yeah, there we go. So now we zoom in on it. Do we see? It took me out. See, let me get back in there. As we see, the true East. So this is where everything was that started with Abraham. This is where it started at. But this is what we want to understand here. you see what lands is connected to.
Yeah.
Right here is connected to Africa
Yep.
and Asia.
Yep.
So this was Eurasia before Africa or Asia. Before Eurasia, it was called Ubaru. Ubaru, this is what came to be known later as Europe. All of this that you see on the map was all one land. And that one land was called Asia, or Asia. And the particular region where Islam was born of Asia was Arabia, which is this true east right here. So you see it's connected to North Africa, Asia. So if we wanted to understand how all this is connected. Okay, let's just use this. We see Arabia, right? So now we see Arabia. We will see Arabia is connected to all the points.
Yep.
But
Yep.
Arabia is connected to Egypt.
Yep.
Arabia is connected to Asia.
Yep.
Arabia is connected to India.
Yep.
Arabia is connected to Nubia.
Yep.
Arabia, look, when you go up to the left over, this is how you cross Europe, Constantinople to France, to look where we come. Iberia. It's the same place we were just talking about, the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah.
This is where Satan was bound. All of this from right here, the whole land of Africa, India, Europe, Asia, is all America before colonization. Before America was called colonized America, it was called Asia. Asia. This is the land of Messiah. Do we know the largest continent in the world? The largest continent of the world is what? Asia. This is America. You got to understand this. Their history is telling you the new discovery of the new world, keeping you into a new timeline.
Yeah.
Your old timeline, before Satan was even on the earth. And before sailed to America. We was already in full literacy, full ability of architecture, everything in the world that started a culture. And it comes from this original time.
Since you said that, that explains why they don't want nobody going down in the Grand Canyon. Because the same thing is over there was there. And they don't want that exposed. Because that'll mess them up.
I'm glad you just said it. This is the hidden secret right here.
That's right.
Of what you just saying. The reason why they don't allow people in the Grand Canyon is because in the Grand Canyon, if you go through the Grand Canyon, it's a portal. Remember, I just told you America is connected. None of the lands are separated.
Look at that.
Asia is connected to every landmass on the planet.
Look at that.
This is why parents, our ancestors, was able to migrate and travel all over the land, where you see pyramids,
Yeah.
mounds,
Yeah.
which we didn't call pyramids, and which we didn't call mounds, we called Kaaba.
Look at that. Look at that.
So we wouldn't understand pyramids from their history. For us, in that area right there, you see America is right here.
Yeah. All of it connected.
See, this is the largest continent. So they separated this
Yeah.
into 7.
Sure did.
So now you got 1607. This is how the devil is making his move. So now, when he lands, that's 1607. You think he came with a plan or not with a plan? The King James Bible of America, published when?
1611. Where they had one in England, 1604, King James.
They saying published, hold up. In America.
1611.
There we go, to the right. It's on the right-hand side. Originally published.
Look at that.
Now, tell me this now. What's 1,000 years minus 611?
Good goodness alive.
And you never heard of this before. Actually, this was called, this is how the false god was created. It was never a Satan. It was just, let's go back now. We're going to go back into the names now. So the people who hate Islam did all this to our people. Which is not to give you this memory. So by starting you on the 1492 memory, there you go. You got everything that comes after.
Yeah.
You have no idea who you are.
That's right. But
So 1611 is they plan.
Yeah.
So for 1,000 years, Satan was to be bounded and released. So where he was bounded at, when he released, he came to America. Y'all, did we just put it all together?
yes, it's clear as day.
He came to America
Renamed it and everything.
and started giving it his story.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is why you got to understand history. For me, I can help you understand history easy by putting a classification on 2 names of history. We got one history, that's the Iberian Peninsula. This is what comes after. What comes before the Iberian Peninsula is the Arabian Peninsula. They don't want you to have no history on the Arabian Peninsula. This is what Malachi, Elijah Muhammad, and Noble Drew Ali was telling. So when, for instance, when Malachi saying we are Nubians, he talking about on the upper side of Egypt will be in that area, Nubia. Then when you go into, let's say, the message of the black man or theology of time, you are Asiatic Muslim. So when you go into Asiatic, that's when you go to the Arabian Peninsula. The Arabian Peninsula connects Africa, Asia, all of the land. That's the history we want as the timeline. And that's the 610 timeline before Satan. After Satan comes the Iberian Peninsula. Oh, this is good history. So they'll never tell you about the Al-Sufyan Golden Age or the Islamic Golden Age. So when he's talking about the first original man, the first original man is from Morabara. That's how we said it in our tongue. Ancient days, Morabara. Today you pronounce it like Arab. Arab is the specific genealogical line. Asiatic is your landmass. Asiatic, the landmass. Marab, the people. Yeah. This is what the original Al-Sufyan Muslim. So when he's saying that you the original Asiatic, that's the land of Asia. That's the language you speak. Asiatic had his own everything. If you go into the history, you'll see it's longer than your age. So when you hear about 77 trillion years, and that the first original man, this is the area. Asia is the area of the land, and Marab, Ubaru, where you later get Hebrew. All this is Asiatic. This is where the original man was born. So you wouldn't understand the teachings if you don't really understand the context of what is being taught. It's not for you to just hear it. It's for you to go and research to make known to self. Because these are people sent by Allah to us. And they had to deal with what they had to deal with in the time they had. And so a lot of these people was coming to confuse us, giving us truth and falsehood strangely mixed. But now through these four, we able to get to the whole magnificent. So now when you come to Noble Drew Ali, this is what Noble Drew Ali is talking about. The reason why Elijah, the messenger, Elijah Muhammad, don't say Moors and he say Muslim is because Muslim is older than Moors. Muslim puts you back into a billion trillion year system that existed before evil was even thought of. So now when we're talking about before there was Elijah Muhammad, before there was Farad Muhammad, before there was a Malachi, Noble Drew Ali was teaching this. He was teaching us who did this to us. and he put it out in the public in open view. And this is what's called Moorish history. Inside of Moorish history is where you'll find Moorish science. Through Moorish science, this is how they was able to free the devil. So through the Moorish science, that's when you get, like when you hear about Muhammad said that the white man was created in Egypt. And then you hear Elijah Muhammad talk about the creation of the white man. The creation of the white man was not done by a Muslim. The creation of the white man was done by a Moor. And here's the distinction. Iberian Peninsula and Arabian Peninsula. This is your distinction. The Moors created what we have today is known as the Caucasian. You see this place we got on the screen, this is still in Asia. So when you hear the word Asian, it's still talking about a place in Asia to an Asian. When we saying cock,
yeah, makes sense.
we talking about a movement from these waters. Remember they said, I don't know, but what they said, over the burning coals, over the desert, red hot desert sand, it's a Masonic law.
Yep.
This is it right here, where at the bottom of this, the bottom of that tongue right there, where that cursor at, right there is where they started crossing the Moors now, and started moving to North Africa. What we see up here, what you would later come to know as Egypt. So if we kept going, let's show you now. So you know they're called this is the Caucasus Mountain. So through the Moors took them on a grueling mission from, as we just left, from Iberian Peninsula, crossing over to Northern Africa, what they call the Horn, to the Crescent, to the east, over to the right, what they say to the west. Above Turkey, above Syria, above Iraq, this is where we have the Caucasus Mountain. So, and you see, if you're from the south, there's a place in Caucasus Mountain called Georgia. So these people who learned from the Moors how to sail from there, when they got their 33 degrees from the Moorish science, when they was able to now become their own people. This is how Moorish science was birthed. We're talking about the island of Patmos. They talking about this right here. So Noble Drew Ali exposed who the Romans were. The Romans got all of their knowledge from the Moors. Now these things are two separate states that we have to understand now in America, because who came over here was Africans and Caucasians.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you that the Africans that was with the Caucasians was you on this land. No, the people that just look like you, but not you, like Americans and Africans.
Mm-hmm.
No hate to the Africans, we just not Moors over here. But people can become African in them. So this is where you get Moorish.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who got a drop of African blood is Moorish. Now the thing about Moorish and Caucasian is both of these are counterfeit spirits. They're not the true original spirit that was born and placed on the land where they was and went to spread the truth. So this is how they become African, and this is how they become Caucasian. So now we brought that up. Let's bring some documents in. Okay, so now we was talking about Northern Africa. Here comes the literature to help understand with that. So all that place over there, let me pull it back up. All this is where Constantine, all this was born and built from. This little Iberian Peninsula. There's a whole lot of history untold. This is the greatest part of the untold history. Thus, Rome destroyed itself. Rome is in Europe. It devoured itself until the end. The legions of Christian Rome from Antioch swept down and destroyed the den of serpents forever. 38. To their old home of Tunis and North Africa. Upon the ruins of Carthage, and the Roman families did escape. See, so from there, that's how they get to Africa. So now we see, this is North Africa on their map. So it said Tunis and North Africa is where they went to hide. If we went, the old home of Tunis in North Africa, upon the ruins of Carthage, this is where you get Phoenicians, phonetics, changing your language from Al Sufyan to Babel, blah, 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 from Allah to blah, blah, blah. The Phoenician Romans, the Carthage, the Christian Romans, the Moorish Romans, families did escape to hide and plot their revenge. So this is where they went to plot their revenge before 1492. So you know now their revenge was set off from 1492. So in 1492, they set sail from Africa This is why Caucasians are Africans. To the land of Arabia, which would be Asia, to the far east of Arabia, to carry out their revenge. Now we come into America. If you let, this is why it's important, if you let these people control your history, control your tongue, they're going to tell you, call it everything by the victor sword. The people who killed your ancestors, the people who lied to you as your child, the people who forced your parents to bring you into kindergarten so you can be taught to be dumbed down and trained to receive a education of slavery, that you are a 1492 slave, and to keep naming yourself after the labels they gave you. This is why we got to bring in Noble Drew Ali, because this is very important in his prophethood to bring us the truth. That is something that these demons are putting on you, and you can't understand it unless you know it. And it's called a label. See, they labeled you Christian. You was never Christian. Everyone that's an Asiatic is Muslim by Asiatic, being Asiatic. So now when we're talking about, we got to bring some things in. 85. Name some of the marks that were put on the Moors of Northwest by the European nation in 1774. See, so what the Moors taught the Caucasian reversed it on the Moors. And this is how we get Moorish history, Moorish science, and most important, Moorish magic. This is what is used to conquer the world, Moorish magic. This is where you make people black. Moorish magic, Moor mean black, and white. Moors and Romans. Moors and Romans. Moors and Romans. Moors and Romans. Keep this in mind. Caucasians are taking the place of Romans. Caucasian Roman, Caucasian Roman, Caucasian Roman. When you're seeing a Caucasian, you're seeing a Roman. Caucasian Roman, Caucasian Roman. The Caucasian get their knowledge from the Moors. The Roman get their knowledge from the Moors. So now in a system that is designed by Caucasians, the history of the Moors would be suppressed, because the history of citizenship, if you are a Moor, you are beyond a Roman. Everyone knows this in history. But if you don't know who you are, meaning if you don't know Moorish history, this is the most important history, because this is where people like you that look like you, this is why you call black, because it's a magical spell used by Caucasians that they learned from Moors. Did you know the same Caucasians back in the ancient times by the Moors was called black? The same people you see today as Caucasians who are Romans, they was called black. And the Moors that was above them was called, can we put it together? White. So now when you get the reverse magic put on you, when they come over here with all of that African Caucasian mess, come to our land, this is what they're doing. Now we African American, black, with a white education. See, we don't get this stuff. So we don't know who black people is. We don't know who white people is. These are things that were put on us to call people who look like us, so they look like us, black. And people who look like them, they look like them, white. But this has nothing to do with reality. This is a magical system by the devil to keep his timeline. Ever since 1611, he forged a new timeline. Let me show you right here. When was the head of Satan taken off? 1453. And this ain't 10. This is a whole nother time period. Took off the head in 1453. That's the Africans. So when we're reading about all of this mix and plotting and why everything is confusing to the people, is the classification of black and white. This is it right here. I don't know if it's on this internet or not. This is this right here. A governmental secret. Y'all remember this, because I don't see it on the screen. It's something called ARMC. That's how they write it. I write it as ARMS. It's true intent. It's the answer and the solution all in one. I'm going to put the C back for them, so if you research it under, this is what it stands for under there. So this is a formula to enslave people from education, and by building institutions and teaching them certain teachings inside of the institution about who they are. So this is what school systems were set up on. So it's called the arms of coat of arms, and this is how they do it. So the A, we're gonna leave that out right now because that's the most important. We're gonna come back to that. The R, we want to begin with the R. And then let me put it in order. It'll be, this is the order of it. America, this is how they get America or Puerto Rico, just stuff like that. It's phonetics and letters. So the M stands for mortgage. It's a governmental tactic. How they set up institutions to teach people who they are. So the M stands for mortgage. So you'll have an institution, and this is why no institution from a Caucasian teach you Moorish history. It's because it's above them. So this is why Noble Drew Ali comes. He does what they cannot do. Go into the Moorish history. Moors are they follow. Moorish history comprises of what Elijah Muhammad was speaking on. About Yaqub making the devil, the Moor making the devil, the white man. Now, if you don't have a Moorish history or education, then you automatically get the education of the letter R. You get the Roman history. Roman stands for the Roman Church. So you're going to get the Roman Church history. The difference is labels. Under the Roman Church, you're going to be called the Christian. You're going to be called black. You're going to be called African American. You're going to be called colored. You're going to be called needing right sinners. All this is labels under the law. These are your governmental powers. They sit in this position right here. And they label Roman. See, that's the citizen. Anybody that's colonized, anybody that they over, the citizen, they don't get none of this teaching that come before the letter R. They get the citizen teaching, enslavement. So you're going to get the 1492 timeline, every citizen is. So what's before a citizen? A Roman church. There was no such thing as a citizen before a Roman church. There's no such thing as a Roman church for the Moorish. There was no such thing as the Moorish with the A. This is the Al-Sufyan. This is Al-Law, where they use the word Al-Lodium. Al-Lodium means to be under the Al-Sufyan of Al-Law. The highest vowel is the letter A. If you sit in this letter A, everything beneath it cannot harm you, damage you. You are immortal. You have beat the game, so to say. This is how they created and named your land from Asia to America through this abbreviation right here. Phonetics, AMRC. As you see American at the bottom, you got AMRC. So now, you know. And so how they confused you was by putting God in their Bible. That way, the Caucasian was able to make himself God by you believing in Satan, which is him. Will you define the word white? See, now we think white man means purity because of the magic, the Moorish magic. God means ruler of the land. So is the devil made in the image of Allah? No. He's not made in the likeness and image of an Asiatic Muslim. You was born with a certain nature, like the sun. So an African is not like an Asiatic Muslim, and definitely not a Caucasian. Who made the Caucasian? Elohim. This is what's called the Council of El. This is why Noble Drew Ali said the titles of the name was El, Bay. So when we're talking about at the end of evil is El. So we're talking about Israel in the sense of Moorish. So who made the Caucasian the Moors? So now we got to understand who is the Moors. See, this is where you get this overarching theme of the set. Let me show you an African spirituality system. The 7 gods. Here they go right here. This is what's called the Elohim, the 7 African powers, or you can call them the 7 Moorish powers. These 7 Moorish powers, or 7 African powers, are a group of powerful, they call them Orishas. So when you get the word Orish, that's when you get the word Moorish. Morisha. Morisha. So the Moorish comes from the Orisha. The Orisha is the Moorish, and this is African powers that govern various aspects of life. So the Africans call them Alegua, Yemiya, Yoshun, Shangu, Obatala, Oya, Ogun. So these words you hear in American parlance, your goon talk. This is where you get the goon talk, or shoot 'em up, bang, bang, goon, goon. Oya, that's where you get the Yahweh talk. Obatala, that's where you get, or the Kabbalah, the Shango, Oshun, Yemiya, and Alegua, Ishu. That would be Jesus. All of this is what Noble Drew Ali was exposing as the Elohim. These Africans or Moors is what made the devil. This is what Elijah Muhammad talking about after what Noble Drew Ali gave him. So what is Elohim sometimes called? The 7 eyes of Allah. See, that's what the A is before the Moorish in him, in the America. See, so the Moors set this spell over our people because they put a spell over the Caucasian, and when the spell wore off the Caucasian was able to put the spell on the Moor. So black and white magic been going on for over a millennium right now. And we in the middle of it, and we to do with it. All we have to do with it is stop calling ourselves by titles of Moors or titles of Caucasians. We have nothing to do with that history. That is their own history of defeating each other because they didn't have Islam. So that's when he tells us 10 days are in a circle. Remember, can the thoughts of Allah be circumscribed? So if we saying that there's a circle, that means something is encircled.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can put a seal
Yeah.
over it.
Okay. Closed in.
And this is the Moorish magic that Caucasians is loving to be doing right now. And it's called the 7 days of the week. That's the 7 African powers that they used to put the magic and spell on its citizens. So every citizen believed through the 1492 timeline that there are 7 days of the week. And this is how you seal yourself into the bound of deception. So
that I'm thinking about the Kaaba now and how they circle the Kaaba 7 times. That's just like circle. So that was what you're doing there really is encircling yourself in being somebody else's food.
That's right. That's right.
But you think you're doing a good thing, but
You're doing a good thing.
in the same way the Christian.
That's when you see that or hear that, that's a spell from Moorish magic to show you it's real.
It is.
You can get people to walk around something 7 times in the teachings because they're looking to fulfill something. That's how dangerous teachers are. This is why it says in question.
So one other thing that what they were doing in Mecca, and then the story of the Bible where Joshua was marching around Jericho 7 times. There's another trap.
Mm-hmm. So that place I was showing on the map where it was the true east,
Yeah.
that was the Garden of Eden. That was the land of Al-Dukan in the city of Al-Bukhar. When the Moors got their hands on it, they changed it from the Al-Bukhar to the city of Mecca. So now, Moors and Romans, this is what Malcolm X found when he went over there.
Yep.
That he seen Moors and Romans worshiping the same thing.
Yep.
While over here,
everything divided.
Everything was divided. See, that's Moorish magic. So that place I showed on the map as the true east was the Garden of Eden, where Islam was birthed from. So the energy and the frequency of Islam goes with Asia, Asiatic. It don't go with Moorish. It don't go with Roman. These things came after Asiatics. See, so if you go under the labels of what Moors have gave you, or you go under the labels of what Rome have gave you, then you're going to be under their God. So if you go by a day of a week, that's Roman God. If you feel like you die in that day, that's a Roman date of a Roman God. If you believe in Alegba, Obatala, you pray to these and you do rituals, that's called a Moors, a Moorish magic. So both of these are Roman and Moorish magic is one and the same. Moorish magic encompasses Roman magic, but Roman magic don't encompass Moorish magic. So you will think they two different systems, but they one magical system. And this is how you rule over people's minds, self, body, make them pay money that they don't have year in, year out, day in, day out. Taxes is a Moorish creation. George Washington, before he was president, he was paying taxes to Moors. This is why George Washington was pissed and created the George Washington Challenge, is to subdue the Moors and put the magic on back on the Moors and take what they did to them and put it on us, making us pay taxes. All this is to their God. This is real life energy. You either worship their God or you don't, and it's understood in Roman terms by money. If they're rich, that means you worship their God. If you poor, that means you don't worship your own. You worship theirs. Your God never made you poor. Someone else's God made you poor. See, this is why you need to know who is who on the land. Everybody ain't Asiatic. And who not Asiatic is African or Roman. These are the three that you need to understand. Your Hindus, they don't come from Asiatic. They come from African. This is why they dark. They come from African. Not you, Asiatic. This is why they don't mess with you. They don't come from you. None of these nationalities over here come from us. They come from Africans. We wouldn't dare make a people.
That's why they don't look alike.
We wouldn't dare make an animal. So anything sliced, cloned, grafted came from Moorish magic. And out of Moorish magic came the Romans. And so we don't have the same fathers and mothers as Moors and Rome. They got a whole, like I'm saying, they got 7 gods that they deal with on the African culture. That's the voodoo stuff. Then they got the Roman stuff, which is polytheistic. polypantheism. So they worship evil just like it's good. See, so these people who were the father of Adam and Eve was Asiatics and Muslims. See, where did they go? They went into Asia. See, the other people, they went into the Iberian Peninsula. We came from the Arabian Peninsula. What is the modern name given to our children? Asiatics. Stop calling them black. That's Moorish. A black or more.
Black or more.
You might always call them a Caucasian. Because that's where it's going to lead to.
One and the same.
They one and the same. Your children are Asiatics. Just like you are Asiatic. This is the history before 1492.
And now you hear the word kid. Now they went from that to kid. And every time you turn around, they call him a kid. A daughter or son. A kid, a kid, a kid.
Mm-hmm. And it's a reason. Because the kid go back,
fair.
right, it go back to Roman. Remember, kid goes back to Baphomet, or Baphomet goes back to goat. Kid is a goat. So when you calling your child, anybody, they're not using this verbiage for any reason. They're putting spells on people. So they're putting spells on your child to be sacrificed. A kid is a goat. A goat gets sacrificed because the goat represents Baphomet. Baphomet represents the Roman version of Muhammad, when Muhammad is the African version of Al-Mu'id. See, we got to know these things. These two people, Africans and Romans, do not like us. This is why they haven't helped us. Africans get help from Romans. Romans will help Africans, but they won't help Asiatics. They won't tell you who you are because your land is Asia. You own Asia right now. They renamed you under Roman seals. So you got to break the seal yourself, not my voice breaking the seal for you. You got to proclaim, declare, and know and believe yourself. See, what is the shade of their skin? Olive. You was never black. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to these angels? See, so now the Moorish Americans, in their purity, Noble Drew Ali is creating a pure nation within the teachings of the prophecy. But in actuality, the Moorish Americans would be the Morab al-Sufyan. Sped up into this time under Roman seal and African seal. This is where you get Moorish American. Remember, before Noble Drew Ali came, we had no idea Moors existed. We had no idea there was a such thing as Moors. Because the Romans never told us in any school system about Moors. So now when we run into Noble Drew Ali, this is why he's telling you Moors are African. And so these things get a little confused because if you don't trace it back, you just go with the current data, then the current data ain't holding the ancient data within it. So for it to be current, it has to hold the whole ancient truth within it. So that way it's present. Other way, you got what we got now. Moorish Roman magic. And so now This is the 5 names that is given to the descendants of Moors and Romans. Moors and Romans. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. What is the devil sometimes called? See, the African and the Caucasian are one and the same. You could say the higher self of the Caucasian is an African. The lower self of an African is a Caucasian. So these two been working together all these years before we was even born. This is why we haven't heard of the Al Sufyan, because of Moors and Romans making us citizens, which you will never get any knowledge as a citizen of Rome. So that's where you got to understand these 2 self things. It's not that Asiatics have 2 selves. Africans and Caucasians have 2 selves, meaning they'll lie behind your back and tell the they'll lie in front of your face and tell the truth behind your back. So in front of you, they're your friend. Behind you, your back, they're your enemy. They talk bad behind you, behind your back. You just don't know it. This is their nature. Until they become a Muslim, they are a Moor. And a Moor, this is why he calls himself a Muslim. He don't want to be called anything close to a Muslim, but he'll use anything to gain power over people. So he'll change it to Muslim. So the angels, the Injil, the Asiatics is the ones who protect the holy city of Al-Baqarah. See, those who were cast out of Al-Baqarah was called Moors. And those who accepted their teaching was called Caucasians. So this is where you get Masons, Shriners, and then you got Moors. A Mason is a Muslim son. A Shriner is a Muslim son. A Muslim is a Iberian Peninsula version of Asiatic Islam. Now, this is what's going to separate it. What we need to learn is our divine name for it. It's going to take it to a whole nother elevation right here. Let me get this on the screen. Uh-oh, here we come now. This is the Asiatic true Islam. You got an African Islam, you got a Roman Islam. African and Roman Islam come out of the Quran. The Asiatic Islam, true Islam, comes out of the Al Sufyan. The way. This existed before a Moor was thought of and before a Caucasian was made from a Moorish thought. So now when we have Sufi law, this is talking about Asiatic law of the land. This is the highest law of the land. Al Sufyan law or Sufi law is divine law manifested for us by our Asiatic family. Recorded in 16.
Good.
So we got the proof now.
There you go.
And we got the document to go before 1492 and stand on principles.
There you go.
Stand on Asiatic principles. So now, form. Remember, the canon comes out of Al-Dukan, the Asiatics. So the Asiatics have the canon and the Sufa. Now, out of the canon says that the Sufi form is the true Islamic law. And nobody knows this. That comes from Africa and Rome.
That's right. Talk about it.
You are taught that the law of Islam is called Sharia. There is no such thing as Sharia law. That's African and Romans, Moors and Romans hijacking Asiatic knowledge, which is a divine crime.
Well, pretty much the whole world right now, this all they saying, the ones, I mean, besides the Christian, the Muslim, all that's what they say, the Sharia law, whether they live here or come from over there.
Right. This is why we had to become aware and become scholars.
I'm seeing that now, because I'm seeing how everybody caught in the trap.
Right. That's why we had to come out the fields, get off the tractor, stop playing, and get into these books and get into the scholar.
Yeah.
Because if not, they're going to control your whole world through words that you have no association to. So now we get the books are open.
Yeah.
So now this is what you go to understand. See, once you get all your literacy and become self-literate, this is to become an al-Sufyan.
Yeah.
In ancient of times, they say the ancient of days, we were self-literate. We didn't need a book. We were self-literate.
Yeah.
We knew ourselves. We knew our environment. We knew who we came from.
Yeah.
And we was good with that. We didn't need books, writings, directions, pointing and telling us where to go like we was dumb.
Yeah.
We lived off intuition, not external men directing through signs that pointing and they ain't even present. So let's check this out, what they've been hiding from us. See, and remember, this is what I was saying about what we had the witness of coming through all these teachings to get to this final truth. I heard a lot, and you heard more than me. And see, all these people who come and telling us that this stuff is Arabic.
Yeah.
This stuff is English. Al-Sufyan is neither Arabic nor English. It's all languages. So in the land of America, we accepted all people because we Al-Sufyans, we don't have that type of disdain until you done started what you done started and tried to erase our memory through the 1492 God. So guess what? I'm going to bring it out now. We got 3 minutes left. Christopher Columbus is a Moor. So this is how it all began on the land of America. So this is what they was keeping us from. True Islamic law on the land called Sufi law. We're going to find out the true name This is what's finna heighten Islam to its greatest level and never to be torn or forgotten again. This is your law for your territory, no matter where your feet at. This is your law for your sovereignty, no matter what label they done put on you.
Yeah.
This is your law for nobility. Remember, the Constitution said they cannot grant you the titles of nobility.
That's right.
That's in their law. In our law, it is noble already.
That's right.
So we have noble law. This law is your law of the land. This law is the law that protects your property. This law is the law that protects your community. This law, Sufi law, Al-Sufyan, was not written in Arabic as the Quran portrays for Islam of Mecca by the Moors. The Moors created Arabic. Now, what the creator left for us was an ancient Greek called Asiatic. In this day and time, they call it Attic language. It's an advanced language of intellect, where you get Socrates and stuff like that, Aristotle. These people were studying under Al-Sufyan, Musalams. This is how Aristotle, Plato, everybody got their game. They got their game from their mama, Al-Sufyan. They got their game from their father, Al-Sufyan. These are the Asiatics and Muslims by mother and father. My father is a Muslim. My mother is an Asiatic. This is how we all should have been born from that original print.
That's right. She gave birth.
So this is why everything is whole for us as Asiatic Muslim, Al-Sufyan. That's all one thing. The sacred rights of the woman, how we became to be men and women, the duties and rights, and here it come right here. In ancient Greek, which is Asiatic, the name of ancient Greek is Asiatic. They won't tell you this. The name of ancient Greek, or the tongue we speak when we say Allah, that's Asiatic. Al-Sufyan, that's Asiatic. Hebrew is Asiatic. Now, the law was written in Asiatic, first introduced by Prophet Muhammad as founder of the enlightened wisdom. Here it comes. Founder of the enlightened wisdom religion. Wisdom religion called Sufism. Now, this is where you get the in-depth knowledge of self. So just like there's an outer and an inner, or as they said, as above, so below, they get that from Asiatic Muslims, Al-Sufyan. The outer, everything you see with your eyes and senses, that's called for us in Asiatic Islam. The universe is Islam. Anything inner, like what's inside your flesh, that's called Sufism. Sufism. So these two was considered divine law, Sufism, Sufi law, Al-Sufyan, and natural law, Islam. The will of Allah is Islam. So this is where you get when Noble Drew Ali come and says, what is your old time? What is your old time? What is your old time? See, this is in the 1900s. So what is your old time religion? Would that be old time? That's old time.
Yep.
And see, the people in the time of Noble Drew Ali, they know what they was doing. These Moors and Africans, these Moors and Romans are very, very clever. See, they knew they was gonna murder Noble Drew Ali after they gave it to him, because what they gave him was the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. But the truth of it would take us back to the truth of what was presented to us. And then the falsehood would take us to the later day blacks and stuff. And so this is the key right here. He said, what is our old time religion? And it was Islamism. That word Islamism, how that became Islamism is through this knowledge right here. Sufism plus Islam. Sufism plus Islam is what Noble Drew Ali was talking about when he said Islamism.
Beautiful.
The highest form of Islam is Sufism. This is what's left back for us at 610, Al-Sufyan. This is a wisdom called awareness that is called Sufism, that you don't need to read a holy book. Everything is within. And if you need a book, you just go to Live or you go to Islam.
That's right.
And it will teach you. Only book that we need is the Al-Sufyan. Other than that, we're wasting time. I just had to burn over a bunch of books.
And more to burn.
And more to burn. It's a waste of time, but to get to this, it was worth the time. Because now we have all of the truth that all of the prophets and the messengers came forth in America, bringing forth to all of us. And so that's the gift now. And in closing, you should know now, Farad Muhammad was a Moor and a Roman together.
Look at that.
If he was the person of Allah in flesh, he would have told us about Al-Sufyan.
That's right.
And we'll close
And he did.
with the true knowledge
There's the proof right there.
of what they was pointing us to, the way of all of our lives. Al-Sufyan, Allah. We close in the name of Allah. Al-Sufyan, Allah.